Hey guys, in today's video, we're gonna talk about why the pros consistently hit the ball so solid. All right, guys, before we jump in, I want to talk to you about two things quickly. Number one, we have launched all of our dates for our 2-day golf schools at the Bethlehem Golf Club. Would love to have you guys come for 2 days. Truly is the best thing to improve your game, improve your overall golf game. A 2-day immersion event is much better than getting the 1-hour lesson week after week after week. So if you guys can make it to Bethlehem for 2 days, would love to have you. We'll put the link in the description down below. If you can't make it for 2 days or in-person lessons, we also built KogornoGolf.com for that reason. Would love for you guys to join our online community. We have a ton of different courses, a huge quick fix section, lots of different practice drills on the site, really guided step-by-step learning for you guys, along with our Facebook community where you can post your swings up. We have a community where we're helping each other get better. I would love to see you guys come, join our community, join our group of golfers, all trying to help each other get better. Would love to see you guys there. All right, guys, Eric here, back outside at the Bethlehem Golf Club. I want to talk to you about why the pros hit the ball consistently so solid week in and week out. And while there are a lot of different parts of a golf swing, if you look at professional golfers versus amateur golfers versus higher level amateur golfers or handicap golfers, there's a few distinct things that golf pros do better and way better than amateur golfers. And really the main thing I want to focus on today is how their body works. So when you look at a golf swing, more or less anything that happens, you can really root back to how the body works. Meaning, if I make my body move a certain way in space, my arms and hands and brain are going to react to that body movement in space. And then the opposite is that true. If I don't move a certain way in space, my body also and brain are going to react to that. So how the body moves is really the main thing that's different amongst pros and amateurs. Now, while there is arm and hand action and club action, we talk a lot about the release of the club. That is important as well. But why the pros hit it so good is because they move their body so well. Now, when we're talking about how they move their body in space, there's a couple different things you could look at. What I want to focus on in this video is how they move their body relative to the ground. Meaning, do they stay level or maintain height? Do they go down at all during backswing, downswing, follow through? Do they go up at all? And what we're going to do is show you a couple examples of really good ball strikers and what they do in their swing. But let's kind of talk through what you're going to see here first. I'll show you those videos so you can see what they do, and then we'll show you a couple of ways there you can use this information for yourself to improve your ball striking. So if I'm taking a normal setup, I want to keep this pretty simple, and I want you to look at it this way. If I took a setup and I drew a line on the top of my head, something real basic, drew a line on the top of my head. When I make a backswing, I can either go underneath or down below that line. I can stay right on that line, or I can go up above that line. Kind of my three basic options during the backswing. Maintain height, go down, or go up. Now, most good ball strikers, and we're kind of talking specifically about an iron here, when you watch them, but same thing with the driver, because that'll come up here eventually. Most good ball strikers, I think the tour average is going down about a ½ an inch to an inch. Okay, so if you look at good ball strikers during the backswing, they will more or less maintain the height of their head going back, or most of them, if you drew that line there, will go slightly down on the way back. And we'll talk about why that is. Now, that's part of this equation, is that you're maintaining or going slightly down on the way back. You're maintaining your inclination or distance away from the golf ball. But what's more important is what they do during the downswing. So if I take my normal setup, my height of my head is here. Let's assume I maintain or go slightly down on the way back. During my downswing, what you'll see just about every single one of them who's a good ball striker do is they will lower again during the downswing and maintain themselves lower until about at or just through impact. So from our down the line version, if I were to take my setup position and I drew the line over my head, the same thing would apply. I would basically stay on or go just underneath that on my way back. I would go down of that on my way through, and I would stay down until I get past impact. Now, if I get lower to the ground, it makes me do all of the things that good players do to hit the ball solid with my arms and hands. If I get farther from the ground, I do all the things that amateur golfers do that don't hit the ball solid. Meaning, if I take my normal setup, I come here like this, I get closer to the ground. If I just let my arms and hands and wrists go, I would hit the ball fat every time. So what does that make me do? It makes me keep my arm bent, it makes me keep my wrist bent, and it makes me want to turn. And that looks like a good ball strike. It looks like a Dustin Johnson Brooks Koepka. Same thing from this side. If I get myself closer to the ground as I turn, I don't want to go like this. I have to keep this bent, and keep myself turning with right side bend on the way through. The opposite of that is true. If I take normal setup, chest is 3-4 feet from the ground, and I go up during my downswing, now I have to do what? Lengthen my arms, lengthen my wrist, not solid, no dynamic loft. From here, if I get farther, lengthen my arms, lengthen my wrist, no dynamic loft. So if I see a golfer with that body motion, I right away know that they're essentially an elite golfer. And lacking those body motions creates a series of events around that create compensations. Now, what I want to do before I explain how you go down or why you might not go down and how to fix it, let's take a look at a couple players here, what they do during the backswing, downswing that you should do in your swing as well. All right, guys, so let's look at some of these players. I pulled up a couple of world-class ball strikers that we use as swing examples, and let's see them going down in their swing and what we're talking about. So first up, we have Adam Scott. Now what I'm gonna do is just draw a line on the top of their head at address. We'll draw a line at the top during the end of the backswing, about the end of the backswing, and then during the downswing. So Adam Scott, one of the swing models we all use, beautiful golf swing. Here's him during his backswing. So as we can see with his head, pretty stable camera on this one. To the top of his swing, if we use a orange here, he's gone just slightly down during his backswing, not a lot of movement, but down of that red line. And then as we watch him in transition, down to about left arm parallel, we'll see another drop. That's kind of the check mark we'll use there. We'll use yellow for that. And then he maintains that yellow at and about through impact until he gets the club about parallel to the ground before he rises up. So we see he's up top at the red, he goes down slightly to the orange, he goes down again from top to left arm parallel. At about left arm parallel, he's done going down, and he maintains that down into about club parallel on the way through, and then he'll go back up. So that is Adam Scott. Let's also take a look at Brooks Koepka. Brooks Koepka wins every golf tournament major he plays in now, and we'll do the same thing here. We got a red line at the top of the head at address. This one goes a little quick, so we'll slow it down. We can see as he works up, a little bit of camera movement, but up to the top, clearly he's got an early down motion. We'll see with the orange, so he's gone down during the backswing, and then in transition to about left arm parallel, a little bit past there, you see he's gone down again to the yellow, and then we'll see as he works through, he stays down on that yellow until about club parallel before he works back up. So kind of the same thing as Adam Scott, down going back, up to the top, down to left arm parallel, stays down, where you see, now he's staying down with all this right side bend there. He stays down to club parallel on the way through. Let's take a look at Dustin Johnson, another really good ball striker. And this camera's gonna move a little bit more, but still we'll be able to see sort of the same things. There's a red line to start with. Once he goes up to the top, even with the camera movement, we can see clearly there's a down motion from there to the top. Again, this one won't be quite accurate because of the movement, but he's definitely gone down. And then we'll see from the top in transition into the downswing, another downward motion happening pretty early in the downswing. Most of these guys are done going down again here by the time their left arm gets parallel to the ground. He's gone down quite a bit, and then he'll more or less maintain that down and work slightly up into impact until the club's parallel. And the last guy, you guys all like Hideki Matsuyama, we use for all of our models, same deal. So red line on the head at address. When we work up to the top, we'll see a very slight downward movement, a little bit of camera motion, slightly down at the top. And then we get in transition, we'll see another slight downward motion, not a ton, right? Not a ton of down, but still some down. Certainly he's moved down quite a bit from where he started. And then what does he do? He stays down, his head stays on that line into the club parallel. Now notice when they stay down, they're still turning their body and they're staying down through this right side bend. See how their backs are curved to the right? That's how they stay down through impact. So all four of these examples, we use great ball strikers, go down during their backswing, go down again in transition till about left arm parallel. They maintain that height into about the club parallel on the way through right side bend and rotation. So now we took a look at a couple of players who are obviously elite ball strikers, some of the best players in the world, and we see that they go down. They get closer to the ground, right? And that's sort of the point here is you want to get closer to the ground. You don't want to have a lot of room. You should feel like you're going down. Now, there are obviously a couple different body parts associated with this. Let's kind of talk our way through the general things here. When I take my normal setup position as I make a backswing, there's a couple things that are going to affect whether I go down, up, or stay level. The first part's going to be the bend of my knees, okay? If I were standing straight up and down, obviously the more I bend my knees, do I go up or I go down? I go down, right? If I straighten my legs, I go up. So at any point during the golf swing, if I were to bend my legs more, I would go more down. That's going to come into play more in transition and the downswing. The second part is going to be a, we'll call a tilting of the hips or the pelvis. We're going to use those interchangeably just to keep things simple. When I go back during my backswing, because my left leg's going to bend more when I go back, there's going to be a little bit of a tilt to my pelvis. As my pelvis tilts, right, do I go up or do I go down? As my pelvis tilts, or the left side of my hip lower than my right, I also would go down with that motion. So that's another piece that's involved. Of course, then we have flexion extension, okay? So if I stood up like this and I got my chest closer to the ground, do I go down or do I go up? I go down, right? Now if I get my chest up towards the sky, I go up. So that forward flexing or bending over also would be another option in terms of me going down. Kind of the last one to look at would be side bend. If I stood up normal, I made my right shoulder get closer to my right hip, that would make me go down as well. If I stood up, same thing on the other side. So really a couple things here to keep simple. Three main ones to think about. If I bend my knees, I go down. If I bend over, I go down. If I add side bend, I go down. So during the backswing, I'm going to have a combination of those three movements, right? Really during the backswing, I'm going to maintain or go down slightly. My legs are going to change flex, meaning I'm adding bend to my left leg as I work down. I'm also adding side bend during my backswing. I'm going here, my left shoulder is working down, my left knee is working forward, and that would be how I maintain height. If you go too far up during the backswing, one of those two things is in all likelihood off, meaning you didn't flex your left leg enough or your left shoulder didn't go down enough. Here's me with a good left shoulder down, here's me with my shoulders level. Which one of those is taller? The one with the shoulders level, right? So left shoulder being down. So that would be the pieces during the backswing. Do I bend my left leg enough? Do I have enough side bend? Now, really in transition would be the piece that I think is even more important. Hey, let's assume I get up to the top and I'm pretty good. How do I go down lower to start the downswing? Really the same thing, three things we talked about. I would increase the bend in my legs. That would make me do what? Go down, right? I would add some right side bend, which would make me go down, and I would regain my forward flex. So from here, I would increase the bend in my legs to go down. I would add some right side bend, as I'm turning, of course, and I would regain my forward flexing, meaning my chest down to the ground. Now from here, how do they stay down from here to impact and not just stand up? They keep turning with right side bend. Here's me turned without right side bend, standing up. Here's me turned with right side bend, okay? So they keep that right side bend. You guys with me on all this? There's three things you need to do to lower. You should get lower to the ground, okay? Bending the legs, side bend, forward bend would be the idea. How do you actually apply this when you're hitting a golf ball? If I'm in here hitting some shots and I want to get lower during my downswing, you can really start from anywhere. I would try and ensure that the legs are bending enough in transition. For me, I like upper body focuses. I like to feel like my chest is going down towards the ground, but I'm not just doing that and not turning. I'm also turning and adding some right side bend. So a little bit of a right side crunch would lower me with rotation. Something simple you could start with from the beginning would be getting your little bit of a right side crunch as you're getting your chest to the target. That would lower you during your downswing. That's kind of a simple starting point. Those are the couple takeaways like that. This is more of a concept video than you getting drills video. But understand, when you're giving yourself feedback via video, which you should, as you should be working with a coach, you want to see the level of your head maintained or go slightly down during the backswing, definitely down during the downswing as you rotate. If you don't hit the ball solid from there, you need to learn how to manage your arms and hands to match that pattern. That is a good thing. You want to get closer to the ground. Don't eliminate that. Learn how to use your arms and hands to match that. So watch good golf swings. Watch the swings you like, draw a line on their head, and draw a line when they come down. As you saw in the video, they will lower. You should do the same. Hey guys, thanks for watching today's video. If you liked the video, please do us a favor, click the like button down below. Click the notification bell. Also, please subscribe if you haven't. Another reminder, we are live every Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on YouTube. Would love to see you guys there. Thank you.